Oh, let's get to the next story. So, as you know, my guy, Donald Trump, has been arrested today, indicted, federal charges. They talking about this nigga facing 200, 400 years or some crazy, like something crazy, bro. But he is under arrest. I don't know if they released him or he posted bond yet. We're about to get the update right now. Let me get my copyright disclaimer over here. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. What up, y'all? What up? What up? A chick from the bricks. I gotta check my email. You gonna have to hit me in the private chat. Give me your email so I can look it up. Did you hit choke no joke bookings at Gmail? Which email did you hit? And I am taking interview requests. I'm taking interview requests. A lot of y'all been hitting me for interviews. Send me a request right there. Choke no joke bookings. All right. I am accepting interview requests. All right. To that email address right there. Choke no joke bookings. All right. Starting tomorrow, I am creating a choke no joke hotline. If you need to call, need talk, need consultation, I have set up a hotline, a choke no joke hotline where you can call me direct. Okay? And I will be trigger happy with the block button. It ain't for everybody to call, it's just a business line. Business only. Don't call me, hey, yo, is this really choke? Don't do that. Because it's gonna go click. You're gonna hear click. All right. So if you want to do business, I'm doing the business line for those who need consultations, advice, business, features, whatever it is, interviews or whatever. I'm creating in line and y'all will be able to leave messages on there and I will call you back. All right. Let's get to Trump.
To this special extended edition of Today. We're following breaking news this morning. Donald Trump once again making history for all the wrong reasons. He's right now under arrest, becoming the first former US president to face federal criminal charges.
These are live pictures right now from outside that courthouse in Miami, Florida, where Donald Trump is inside right now. His supporters, no surprises, out in force protesting these charges over the alleged mishandling of classified documents which contain some of America's greatest secrets.
The president was spotted leaving his hotel a short time ago, surrounded by lawyers and police. He travelled in a large motorcade to the courthouse where supporters have been waiting for many hours with signs and flags. Let's bring in our US correspondent, Alison Petrowski, who is outside the Miami courthouse. It's very hot where you are, Ali, for several reasons. Security is high there as well.
Yeah, it is. Good morning to you guys on what is, of course, an historic day. As we understand it, Donald Trump has already surrendered and he has been processed, and he's gone up to the 13th floor where we understand that his hearing will take place. I think at the moment we are probably running about an hour ahead of schedule. He did arrive early today. And as you mentioned, lots of curiosity about what the turnout would be today. We do have probably between 1,000 and 1,500 supporters that have come out in force. They are very vocal, they are very colourful, and so far, thankfully, they have been peaceful. It's a pretty weird setup here. Unlike New York, where there was a barricade between anti-Trump people and pro-Trump people, here instead, we have everyone kind of mixed in, milling around where our media tents are here. So we have Trump fans that I can see just behind the camera here. There's probably another 300 just to the left of me. Some of them were swamping the tent nearby where Carrie Lake, the failed candidate for governor in Arizona, is giving an interview to one of the US networks a bit further down. So we've got everyone kind of mixing around here, and the thought was that this could perhaps be dangerous, that perhaps anti-Trump and pro-Trump people might clash. That isn't something that we've seen at all. There's very few anti-Trump protesters actually here in the park outside court where we are. Huge police presence though. Miami police on bikes, many of them actually using their bikes as barricades. I saw them actually barricade around the CNN tent a while ago when some noisy protesters were getting a little bit too close to their on-air talent. There's FBI agents around, Secret Service, of course, to help Donald Trump get inside the back of the building where he came in. And we did have an incident earlier today, guys, where everyone was actually removed from the park, including us. We've been here for about 5 hours. All of us, protesters and media, were moved out of the area while the sniffer dogs and the bomb squad investigated a suspicious package. But thankfully, we were all allowed back in. There was no issue there. So things were kind of on edge. And now that Donald Trump is in the building, we're in a bit of a lull. So why don't we hear from some of the supporters that I spoke to a little earlier?
It's one of the worst things since probably President Kennedy and Lincoln were assassinated. This is basically a life sentence.
At some point, people have to see what's going on. I've never seen one person persecuted as much as he has been persecuted. There are so many other bigger events going on around the world and in our country right now that should be getting our attention.
See the supporters there. Do we know much about what's going to unfold from here?
Well, as I mentioned, Charles, we understand that Donald Trump is up on the 13th floor now where they will be going through that indictment, listing out those charges. I'll be curious to see if they list out the whole thing in detail. This indictment is damning as it is long, 49 pages, and every single count has particular evidence linked to it. So it is certainly far more detailed than what we saw in New York. So we are unsure about how long the hearing itself will take, but he has already gone through that processing experience. So he came through with his Secret Service motorcade into an underground garage where we understand that he was met by FBI agents and brought up to be processed. So he was digitally fingerprinted. They don't do ink anymore. It was a digital fingerprint. They took a mugshot, something that we will never see. And as I understand it, he was not put in handcuffs like every other, defendant is in normal cases. That didn't happen with Donald Trump, but he's up there at the moment and listening to those charges. And we expect, of course, that he will plead not guilty, and then he will make his way out of here probably just as quickly as he entered, and he will be heading straight to Miami Airport where he will board a flight and go to Bedminster. And as I understand it, given that there are no cameras allowed inside the courtroom, we won't even be seeing stills photographs, just simply a transcript in a few hours from now. The first time we will hear from Donald Trump today will be at his golf course in Bedminster when he is giving an address as part of a fundraiser tonight.
Ali, as we know, this appearance in court is an unprecedented thing for a former US president, but it's not unprecedented for Donald Trump. You were there in New York when he appeared in the courthouse there. It's a very different scene, though, isn't it, where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, New York is certainly, as we talked about back then, Sarah, a different kind of town. Lots of anti-Trump sentiment, even though it was his original hometown. He built the Trump, or he took over his father's Trump empire and built it even further from there, built a real name for himself in New York. But it was this weird thing where New York in recent years rejected him. And so we saw a huge turnout of anti-Trump protesters. Here in Florida is a very different vibe. This is Donald Trump's home turf now. Mar-a-Lago is probably about an hour, hour and a half north, depending on traffic. If you've got a motorcade, it's probably only an hour. The alleged scene of the crime is in Florida. He feels like a Floridian now, and Floridians have truly embraced him. It is an impressive turnout, particularly I've noticed, guys, from the Latino community here. There is a huge Latino community in Miami. I am noticing probably 50-60% of the pro-Trump supporters here today are Latino. But this is, as I said, Donald Trump's home turf. He has won this state twice, and it'll be interesting because this means that a Florida jury will get to decide one of the highest profile cases in US history.
It is a very tight, very detailed, evidence-laden indictment, and the conduct in there is awful. Whether you like Donald Trump or you don't like Donald Trump, this conduct is inexcusable, in my opinion, for somebody who wants to be president of the United States.
Oh, geez, it's very interesting, isn't it?
This is all spiritual shit. They heard them say he on the fucking 13th floor. Out of all floors, he on the 13th floor. I'm telling you, bro, this is a whole spiritual thing we dealing with here, man. As many as y'all don't want to believe it, man, these people are really trying to awake the goddamn Kraken. They are trying to awake the Kraken. It's scary. Like, I don't know if y'all feel the tension out here, but I'm telling y'all, it is some weird energy going on out here. You seen that Jocelyn? She looked like she was a demon fighting that girl. They moved Tory Lane's sentencing date. He was supposed to get sentenced today on the 13th. Like, I don't know what's going on. Everything happening on the 13th.